I'm going to promote this. I think it's July the 17th. They're saying blackout. And what they don't want people of color to go out and spend $1 that day. And how did everything change when Rosa Parks was on that bus and didn't get back on that bus? It was changed because of the economics of it. It wasn't because of it. It was the economics, because Black people of color stopped riding the bus, and the bus company was losing money. So they had to change their theme. The same thing applies with this blackout where you don't spend $1. They're estimating right now, if every person of color in the United States did not spend $1 on that day, $10 billion would not be spent. So, but I'm just talking about people of color. They're not including anybody else. They're just saying people of color. This is actually on the media. We're going to put it up on my, we're going to talk about it on my podcast. I'll put it out on my Twitter. Yes, indeed.
So, Max,
I think the NBA makes a statement already with some of its players, like LeBron James, by tweeting out again, "I can't breathe." He's a T-shirt that he wore when there was a black man died before, and now you have a man of color dying again. He retweeted that picture that he wore, the jersey, and he said, "I can't breathe," and then he had again on the bottom of it. So I think there are players now who take political stances. Look at Jaylen Brown, driving 15 hours going to his hometown of Atlanta to protest. I could not have been more proud of this dude on what he did, his social stance. But what I did not like is I did not like the fact that he did not wear a mask.
Yeah.
In this pandemic, I think I think it even goes even further. If he wore a mask, he's sending not only the statement of his blackness, which we talked about, but also the awareness of what's happening in his community by not wearing a mask, and people of color have been affected a lot more than any other population. So when you go in and don't wear a mask, then your message is a mixed message.
I mean, it is quite a.
It doesn't make any difference now. The fact of the matter is, you are not only. Here's the thing they say, and I believe this with Dr. Fauci. Not only are you protecting yourself, but what you're doing, you're protecting others. And so forget about the whole thing. Yes, there's some idiots out there. There's some stupid people who, have gone the wrong way, who have just looked at this as an opportunity to go out and loot and steal. But then most of the population out there is looking at this as an opportunity to take a stance. And that's what I love about it. And because of the idiots who are out there looting, the message now is going to be diluted. I heard the guy in particular say this about Trump and people who support whatever it is. He said that now you no longer have the high ground. You had the moral high ground. When you were protesting before, you had the moral high ground. Now that you are looting and killing and all these things, now you have given up the moral high ground, and the message becomes diluted.
Although, Max, I agree with you 100% that there are a criminal element going on here. And I live right near Seattle, and every May we always have some sort of riot with these Antifa idiots who come into our city and break windows.
We have them here too.
Which happened last night too. So they had very peaceful protests, and of course that's completely ruined by these morons. But this is different to me, Max, in that this is going on city by city by city all over the United States. There's something different going on here. And there's something different when you have protests in Salt Lake City.
Stop.
Right?
No, wait, dude.
So he just said that last night.
It's happening. No, stop right now. It's happening in Utah, Salt Lake City.
That's what he just said. Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City? Really? I mean, you're talking about
you just said that.
People of color who maybe, I don't know, it was like 0.1% of the people in Salt Lake City who are of color. So that's why I think it's an even bigger story when you look at a place like Salt Lake City.
Right. Cincinnati, Max. Cincinnati, Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
Think about this.
Not happening in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah.
This isn't this is just not an isolated protest to one American city, Minneapolis. This is spreading all over the United States. It's also going worldwide. Toronto, London, Berlin, Max. So this is different to me.
This is
the Middle East. The Middle East.
This is completely different in that scenario. But I look back in the 60s, during the time that there were riots in almost every major city. And I'm talking about the major cities like Detroit during the summertime. Watts in LA was burnt down. There were protests in Charlotte. There were Atlanta. So you saw a lot of places on flames here in America. But as you're saying, it has gone global. Now, is it global because now there is a platform that you can go global, whereas our times, it was during the 60s, it was pretty much, news was in your country and you didn't give a damn about what happened in some other country.
We're not that far removed, though, Max, from Eric Garner, and that didn't get the same reaction.
That's true.
That was on television. That was for all of us to see. I think there's just something different about this, and I don't know if it's because we're in the middle of a pandemic that's killed 105,000 Americans. I don't know. And we forget this. Guys, it was only like 2 weeks ago we saw another African-American gentleman jogging in Georgia on videotape being shot by two guys out of a truck.
Well, there was also the woman who was in her house with her boyfriend, and they come in her house and thought that they were looking for somebody who had drugs, and she gets shot and get killed in her own house. So I think it's a pandemic in a whole nother way that Black Lives Matter. To me, all lives matter, but we're not talking right now. We're looking systematically at people of color who are being killed for no reason. And I think that's what has angered so many people here in the United States. And couple that with social media, I think is just going even further.